UFC 309 is this weekend, Jones versus Miocic. No one cares about it. However, there is a fight card below it, and there's that main event, and we're going to be breaking them down and predicting every fight on the early prelims, and main card today, folks, for you. So buckle your seatbelts. I'm going to be rattling through a few of these fights and giving you my quick little predictions. When it comes to the more higher profile fights, I'll be breaking them down slightly better. However, this is a new thing I'm going to be doing on here. Full card predictions, breakdowns, discussing the betting odds, everything like that. Obviously, I make loads of videos regarding the interactions fighters have together, and I do a lot of prediction videos as well. However, when I got my first 1,000 subscribers, a lot of that was from the predictions. Obviously, the Overeem Volkov prediction was very good. Paddy Pimblett to submit Bobby Green in the first round was a really good prediction on my behalf. Predicted the Oliveira over Chandler. You know, a load of fights I predicted spot on in the past few years, and I want to get back to that. And this is just me quick firing some picks for you. Let's get straight into it. First of all, starting off the card, we have Mrs. Veronica Hardy versus Eduarda Moira. I've got Veronica Hardy. Now, Veronica Hardy's record may not suggest that she's going to win this fight. What is this? Let's finish setting up windows. No, thank you. Just let me do my predictions. Veronica Hardy, I've got winning this fight. I think she's way more well-rounded. I've not seen nearly enough from Eduarda Moira to suggest that she's this up-and-coming good prospect from Brazil. If anything, that was Mackenzie Dern, and she's kind of a 50-50 fighter at the moment. And plus, Veronica Hardy, I think she's good. I truly think she's good. I think she doesn't mind making a fight dirty. She'll make it clean, but if she needs to make it dirty, make it a bit scrappy to get the win, she will. She also has a very good grappling game as well. She's obviously that sort of like Ecuadorian, Colombian sort of style, hold them up against the cage, leave the pocket, do a bit of dirty boxing. I'm going to predict Veronica Hardy by decision. I think she's just going to land a few more punches after each exchange, and her punch output might not be as accurate, but there'll be more volume, there'll be more effective shots, and I think I'd expect Moira to go for a few takedowns and maybe even get them. Veronica stands up against the cage, reverses it, a bit of dirty boxing, something fun. Next up, we've got Basil Hafez versus Oban Elliott. I've got Oban Elliott actually by first round finish, regardless if that would be a first round KO or submission. If I'm being 100% honest, I think Elliott has something to prove here. I think he's also the cleaner fighter, more crisp, has very good kicks, underrated grappling, and I think he probably gets it done. I kind of want to say TKO on the ground against the cage, something like that, you know. Maybe is piecing him up, Basil a little bit on the feet, and then kind of just gets that. Maybe like a sweep or like a single leg trip, something like this, and takes him out relatively quick. I think the prelims will be actually decent, actually better than the main card. Quickly moving on, Mickey Gall versus Ramiz Berhamaj. I've got Ramiz. I've got Ramiz. I really do not think Mickey Gall is that good. Let's have a little quick look here. I must admit, this is at 185, which is fun. It's fun for Mickey Gall to be at 185. Obviously, Mickey Gall's got the reach. He's 7-6. He's a fun, used to be a big name, really fun grappler. Obviously, was from Dana White's Contender Series, then fought CM Punk. I've got Ramiz knocking him out. I just think Mickey Gall is past what anyone thinks of him. I really don't think he's high level. And I've got him losing. I've got him being devastated, to be honest. I've got him looking for takedowns and not getting them. Obviously, this being at middleweight and Ramiz just being too much stronger for him. And I get middleweights are pretty bad in the whole of things if it's not in the top 15. But I must admit, I do not have Mickey Gall winning this. And I think it might be a decision for Ramiz if Mickey Gall can stay in it. Mickey Gall tends to do this thing in fights where he just completely shuts down when something's not going his way. He breaks down and shuts down, and that's not what you want to be doing. Next up the card, we have Marcin Tybura versus Deniz Johonata Deniz. Now, I knew nothing about this Deniz guy, right? He's an up-and-coming heavyweight. I had a wee look at him on the regionals. He's slow, sloppy, has a bit of explosive power, X'd in the pocket. Tybura, I think, will catch him. I think Tybura, it'll just come down to him being more active and kind of rolling with shots. I really don't think Deniz is going to have much for him. I think Tybura goes out there, and I'm going to say second round KO, something like that, against the cage. Big body shot, left hand over the top. Denez looks really soft-bodied. He looks like if you were to smack him in the gut, he wouldn't be able to handle it. That's my prediction for you, folks. I'm going to go Marcin Tybura's second round TKO. And we're going to ignore this David Owen. I actually don't know this boy at all. I literally didn't even want to research him. I'm not doing that. So we're moving up the card. We've got Jim Miller versus Damon Jackson. Damon Jackson by decision, I'd say. I mean, Jim Miller's so active. He's a fucking legend. I would love to see Jim Miller get it done. Damon Jackson's going to get it done. I think he's going to get it done by decision. Some teeps to the body. Miller's going to try grab the legs. Jackson's going to pull them back, land that jab all night. And I think it'll be very close. Maybe a split decision for Damon Jackson. I don't see either one of these guys getting a finish. I can see Jim Miller maybe with guillotine or a rear naked choke. But I'm going Damon Jackson in this one. I just think more well-rounded. He's definitely younger. And, yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun one, and I like these types of fights on the prelims. Just these fun fights that don't really mean anything for a division. They make me giggle a little bit. But now a fight that I'm actually really excited for moving up the card. We're going Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. I'm going Chris Weidman, holding him down and keeping him down and finishing him in the second round. I think Weidman, this is going to sound nuts, has the potential to be a top 10 middleweight just because he's an elite level grappler. And I don't care what you say, his striking may be meh. He's been chinned a lot. Chris Weidman. I'm going Chris Weidman by second round. I'm going to say submission, rear naked choke, or an arm triangle. I think he's just going to absolutely dominate him from start to finish. I think he's going to get Eric Anders down. I think he's going to jab his way into range and just blast double leg him, hold him against the cage, do a bit of Marab, knee him, kick him. I've got Chris Weidman beating Eric Anders easily. So that's all she wrote. I think that's all she wrote. I think Chris Weidman's back. I really want to see a good performance, and yes, he won his last fight by eye poke practically, but I love Chris Weidman. I think he's a great fighter. I think his grappling's really fun. It's that fun Colby Covington pressure American style of grappling. Obviously he may not have the volume or the drive he has in the takedowns anymore. However, the technique never leaves, and if he can avoid taking too much damage, we can maybe see him come back in February, March, April time if he's wanting to be active and give it one last title run. Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGee. Obviously Jonathan Martinez's last fight was probably against Aldo, I think it was, something like that. Marcus McGee has been on a tear, all by stoppage. Marcus McGee, I think, is going to win this fight. 9-1, trains at the MMA lab, very close with Sean O'Malley, Tim Welch. Obviously, I'm an avid listener of their Patreon and their what they talk about, and they say Marcus is on a different level. He's so good. He's finally being able to pursue this full time. He had a part-time job. He had 3 jobs and was training in amongst it, and his kids, and struggling for a lot of it. And now he's gotten his shot. He's here to take it, and I think Jonathan Martinez is really good, and he was doing very well against Aldo on the feet. I just think Marcus McGee has way more ways to win. I think he can make it ugly and punch on the back foot and then drive a takedown, and if he fails the takedown, just still be there and just make it a really horrible night and make Jonathan Martinez absolutely hate fighting. And that's why this is headlining the prelims. I think Marcus McGee goes out there and gets a quick win. This could be incredible. This could be an incredible performance. And also I want to see Marcus McGee, maybe he would never fight Mario Batista, their training partners. However, he might whip out the old Mario Batista tactics of just hold Martinez against the cage and bully him, because that's, I think, what he's capable of. I think he's 30. I believe Marcus McGee's 30. I think he's 30. Does it say how old he is? I think he's like 30 something. I'm probably missing it. I don't know. I can't see it. I think he's 30 years old. But anyway, let's move on to the main card, folks. That's my predictions all the way up to the prelims. I'm just going to ignore these boys because look at the heavy favourite there. Oh, I'm going to ignore the women's fights as well. We're going to go straight into the top 3 big ones. Paul Craig versus Bo Nickel. Obviously, Paul Craig being a fellow Scotsman like myself, I've trained with Paul Craig in the past. His jiu-jitsu is phenomenal. He's a freak of nature physically. And I really, really like him at middleweight. Look, I think if Bo Nickel wants to drive a takedown on Paul Craig, it will be easy. First of all, Paul Craig will realistically pull guard, and secondly, Paul Craig is so long and so tall at 6'3" for middleweight. There's a lot of torso, there's a lot of legs, there's a lot of areas to grab. He's not compact, he stands tall when he fights. He's got a very good left and right body kick. However, the boxing is slow. There's no head movement. He's there to be hit with a powerful jumping straight right hand. But regardless, I have got Paul Craig. I have got Paul Craig going out there and submitting him in a round, or 2, or 3. If Paul Craig can survive long enough on the feet to make it close, not to win, to make the fight so close to where Bo Nickel says, fuck it, I'm going to shoot at your legs and take you down, I think Paul Craig can... I just have a feeling he'll cinch up an arm bar or something, and the strength of Craig will really surprise Bo Nickel, and also the level of MMA grappling. Now, it's not jiu-jitsu, it's not wrestling, it's MMA grappling and MMA submissions Paul Craig's very good at. And it's always been the guys that have power and that can defend takedowns that Paul Craig has trouble with. However, if Paul Craig can stay back, let it go into the second or third round and force Bo Nickel to shoot a takedown and put him in trouble, I'm going for Paul Craig. And I love Paul Craig. He's so funny, he's got a really good sense of humour. Fellow, also Scottish like myself. I think Paul Craig gets it done. I'm going to go Paul Craig second or third round submission. Moving up the card, the big ones now, boys. Michael Chandler versus Charles de Bronx Oliveira. Finally seen both these guys back in action. Obviously, Oliveira's taken a bit of time off. His last fight was in April against Arman Suzukian, and Michael Chandler's last fight would have been against Poirier. Someone like that. Would it be? I think it would have been Poirier, maybe. I have a really bad feeling Michael Chandler goes out and knocks him out in the first round. However, I think Oliveira is going to hold. I think Oliveira is going to keep Chandler in his guard for a round or two and elbow him, throw submissions out there. Chandler's going to stand up, they're going to get in scrambles, Oliveira's going to pull guard, elbow him. I think it could be one of those kind of like weird, messy fights. And I've got Charles Oliveira by decision. I think it's going to be like a really weird, messy fight to where, you know, Chandler's swinging and cracking Olives, but then Olives pulls him down, elbows him in the guard, tries sweeping him, tries submissions, and is just more active in terms of actively trying to finish the fight. And everyone will say, oh, you know, that's not effective grappling. If you're actively trying to finish the fight and you're holding them down, that's extremely effective grappling. That's like Moicano level grappling, which I think it'll be a kind of Moicano versus Benoit Saint Denis style performance here from Oliveira. Getting Chandler down is the problem though. That's why I think if you pull guard on Chandler and elbow him a little bit, just kind of ruin his rhythm, because he's a very bouncy fighter. He bounces in, he bounces out. He's got a pattern to him. You can easily figure out that pattern. He's just explosive, hits hard, is in great shape. And I'd actually say he's lighter going into this fight than he's been into any other fight. Because he just looks leaner, he looks faster. And he's coming in here for everything, because he knows if he wins this fight, he's back in the mix in lightweight. But we need Charles de Bronx to get this done, and I'm going to go Charles by decision. I fucking pray Stipe gets this done, because I can see Stipe getting it done and being like, fuck it, Tom Aspinall, where you at, motherfucker? And getting Aspinall in the cage against Stipe, and John just being sat in the corner like, oh, that should have been me. I've got John Jones. I've got John Jones. I mean, I think John Jones goes out there and doesn't make it look easy, but he just does enough to win. I think he probably finishes Stipe in the third or fourth by submission. The guy's not going to knock Stipe down. The guy's never knocked anyone down except Lyoto Machida, and Lyoto Machida walked into that punch blatantly, and Jones kind of even looked surprised he landed it. I'm going John Jones. I mean, he's got more ways to win than Stipe does. I was rewatching Stipe versus Cormier. Stipe doesn't move his head well at all. He takes shots well, but Ngannou really did hurt him bad. And yes, he's had 4 years off. He's a 42-year-old man, and I would love to see him beat John Jones, but I think obviously you have to pick John Jones. I mean, it wouldn't be smart not to pick John Jones, and you kind of have to. And if I was to pick Stipe Miocic, it would simply be out of my hatred for John Jones, and that's not a valid reason to pick someone and put my prediction on the line for that. I'm going Stipe. I'm joking. I'm going John Jones. However, I'm praying Stipe wins. I'm going Jones like probably third or fourth round submission. I'm seeing an arm triangle. I'm seeing elbows from the crucifix position, a doctor stoppage type thing. I think Jones will just be more violent, more ruthless with his attacks, and I think Stipe will be one step behind him, a bit slower, and not be able to. I think Stipe will be able to land straight rights and stuff, but then Jones, I think, will dive for the legs very early in the first round and get on his back, and yeah, he'll be too crafty on the ground and too skinny and too long for these heavyweights. But again, he's fighting a guy that's not really his size, and Stipe Miocic is not 6'5". These stats are all very, very wrong. But all I'm saying is, Stipe Miocic, Sean O'Malley's leg reach is longer than Stipe Miocic's, so that kind of says you all you need to know. A bantamweight's legs are longer than yours, and Jones will be throwing teeps out there. He'll be trying to eye poke him, gouge him in the face, and keeping his range. And it won't be domination. It'll just be a shit and pointless title fight but if Stipe goes and gets this done, that could be absolutely hilarious. But that's anyway. I'm going John Jones. Thank you very much for watching this prediction video, folks. That's my predictions. I didn't really break them down as much as I would have liked to. I was just kind of rattling them off. I'll do my individual prediction and breakdowns for the big fights closer to the time. Interesting. Very interesting. Thanks for watching. I've got John Jones. I've got Charles Oliveira. But Stipe has the chance to do something funny here.